This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. You're going to notice missing behind me is one of those jerseys, the other 97 jersey, my nameplate on the back. And well, if you saw the community tab today with the skate picture, it all kind of makes sense, alright? Let me tell you, that's my jersey out on the ODR, and that's why I got it. It's a fancy little jersey, and actually I was quite surprised today to learn that in the Youth Olympics, I think it's the Youth Olympics over in Lucerne, or however you pronounce it, in Europe somewhere. Man, I'm misinformed. I'll have to do some more research. Anyway, point being, they were talking about that game because Canada won bronze in hockey, and they were actually wearing that Canada jersey I have hanging up in every video. So that really was pretty nifty to see that still being used by Team Canada 2 years after the Olympics. So that's just a point of pride right there that I have a jersey that's still in use that many years later. Anyway, not the point of the video today. The point of the video is there, because we've got our news on a second AHL All-Star for our Bakersfield Condors this year in Mr. Evan Bouchard. And yes, sirree, it's about time we discuss Mr. Evan Bouchard for the first time in a while, because Mr. Evan Bouchard is joining Benson on the AHL All-Star team. That's a mouthful, but at the same rate, I kind of skipped out on the old 41 game update that I was planning to do for you guys there once we hit game 41, because all along what I said is game 41, you got to call up Evan Bouchard. Now, hold on, I was saying that back in May, June, July, August, September. Well, think about the majority of those months, and I stuck with it throughout the season. I know I did, but think about the majority of those months. Ethan Bear wasn't an NHL regular, so sometimes things go a little bit differently, and that, well, Ethan Bear becoming an NHL regular in that span of time is what went differently, and probably most likely why we haven't seen Evan Bouchard so far. Yes, you can sit here and argue Ken Holland over-ripening prospects, Ken Holland doing what he does with defensive studs, fine and dandy. It all makes sense, but I will forever, always, after claiming it all off season, Evan Bouchard being in the minors a full year, potentially at this point, is part and parcel part of Ethan Bear's development as a full-time NHL defenseman. That said, there are some things that we do have to get to with Evan Bouchard, not Ethan Bear. We've discussed enough about Ethan Bear this year. Let's discuss Evan Bouchard. So let me get this stats graphic up as big as I can. I'm pretty much going to chop off my head, aren't I? Yep, pretty much. So I'll move it over here in a second so that you can get the shots and stuff. Evan Bouchard, he's played 40 games down there with Bakersfield this year. An update again for you. Things haven't been going great for Bakersfield. A little bit of a weird year. Injuries have been the majority of the issue. As much as anyone can say it's something else. Injuries, goaltending, but goaltending, injuries. That's the problem. So, for Evan Bouchard, everybody was a little bit concerned about him, myself included. In December, the points, the goals weren't as high as you'd expect. The minus was terrible, right? Like, everybody was freaking out about that. Well, all of a sudden, since about December, he has been on a heater. I'd say since Christmas, I think, is where the real turning point was. 7 goals, 17 assists, 24 points in 40 games for Evan Bouchard. All right, that's a pretty good stat line down there in Bakersfield. And let's be honest, let's go quickly compare that to the Edmonton Oilers defenseman stats. All right, and we'll account for the AHL is half as competitive as the NHL. All right, that's where we're cutting our line. So if you're discussing it, well, NHL comparable, Evan Bouchard's got 12 points. Let's see where that ranks amongst defensemen. You've got Oscar Klefbom at 28 points. You've got Darnell Nurse at 21 points. You've got Ethan Bear at 16. Then you go all the way down to Chris Russell at 7. So Evan Bouchard, if the AHL is half as competitive as the NHL, I know that's not the actual math, but you get where I'm going with it. Evan Bouchard ranks 4th on the Oilers in defensive scoring. Now in the plus-minus category, because I've seen this enough millions of times in the comments this year, and it don't matter to me how much you want to bang on it, that the plus-minus is terrible. Think about this. Oscar Klefbom, AHL is half as bad as the NHL. Well, okay, I guess you'd be saying that he'd be a minus 20, but think about where our other defensemen rank. Oscar Klefbom, minus 14. Ethan Bear's at a 0. Darnell Nurse is at a 0. You've got Then Chris Russell at a -1, -8 for Adam Larson, and -5 for Caleb Jones, minus, of course, or +8 for Matt Benning. So, yeah, you know what? The plus minus, but yeah, that's subjective, right? Are the Condors the Oilers? No, they aren't, so don't worry too much about the plus minus. Penalty minutes, 24 penalty minutes in there. Holy crap, I can't keep this thing centered. He also has 4 power play goals, leads AHL rookies in goals in general, 1 game-winning goal. And then you've got 100 shots on net, a 7.0 shooting percentage for Evan Bouchard this year. All right, let's go back to our defenseman. Well, Mr. Oscar Clefbaum, 128 shots, 3.9 shooting percentage. Darnell Nurse, 114 shots, 3.5 shooting percentage. Ethan Bear, 68 shots. Man, Ethan needs to shoot the puck more. 5.9% shooting percentage. Okay, Chris Russell, big fat 0. Matt Benning, big fat 0. Adam Larson, big fat 0. Caleb Jones, big fat 0. Take your pick. I'd say Evan Bouchard shooting the puck. He's done exactly what we thought he was going to do in the Bakersfield system this year, and that is absolutely beautiful, I must say. And then, of course, you see the playoff stats down below from last year. So, Evan Bouchard really getting it going, and, of course, being named an AHL All-Star. I know Josh Curry's had a heck of the year for the Bakersfield Condors, and that could be, to a degree, where the call should have went. But if it's a defenseman that was needed, Evan Bouchard, definitely for what he's done, deserves it. And it's good to see, right? Obviously, you look at how our Condors were selected for the All-Star Game this year. All 3 of them. Kyler Yamamoto was selected, but Tyler Benson had to replace him, and then now Evan Bouchard's been selected as well. You look at it that way, right? Tyler Benson, Kyler Yamamoto, Evan Bouchard. It's almost like I spent an entire summer discussing the potential and impact these guys could have moving forward. It's almost as if the AHL understands what they're there to do this year with the Bakersfield Condors. Who knows, right? Why not capitalize on future star power while you can, right? Think about it this way. Think about it from my perspective, all right? I'm gonna give you a little insight into me as somebody on YouTube, right? Think about it. If I discover Kyler Yamamoto in Rexall Place against the Spokane Chiefs, all right, he's playing with the Spokane Chiefs against the Oil Kings. Think about it this way, right? I'm there filming the game, and Kyler Yamamoto does something remotely exciting, and I get all up in the arms and about it because it is the best play I've seen in years, because I watched Junior B for the first several years of my life, and I was watching WHL for the first time. Think about that, all right? And then, so Tyson thinks, man, that was such a great play. The internet needs to see this. And this is 2 years out, right? This is not Yamamoto's being drafted this year. Yamamoto's being drafted next year. Bang, bang. Yamamoto's drafted the next year. My videos had maybe about 1,000 views on that point. All of a sudden, it gets 2,700 views in one day, because I capitalized on future star power. You get where I'm going with that? That's what the AHL is doing with this Evan Bouchard, Tyler Benson stuff, is simply they've had good years, but at the same rate, they're also future star power in the NHL. And let me tell you, why wouldn't you want to have, when Tyler Benson or Evan Bouchard scores a highlight reel goal for the Oilers, the first video that pops up in the history of the internet is an AHL All-Star video, right? Branding and stuff for your own league. Marketing. It's all about marketing. That's what I'm saying. And that's why Evan Bouchard and Tyler Benson, a good combo for not only the Condors and the Oilers to have at the All-Star Game, but for the AHL as well. And this is exactly where it gets going, guys. This is good news, right? Is Evan Bouchard, I know it maybe a little bit to me not had the season I wanted him to have so far, all of a sudden steps it up since turn of the year, and look at this. He's an AHL All-Star. He's got 24 points, 7 goals, leads all AHL rookies. He's an All-Star. Suddenly, guys, look at what we're talking about. We're talking very, very positive about a defenseman a lot of people really weren't sure about. I know a lot of people were really thinking Noah Dobson would be the hot shot. Let me tell you, we develop Evan Bouchard right, it's going to be a whole different story. And those comparisons, let them run wild in your mind. Guys, how excited are you? Now, that's the thing. We need to get to this because the AHL has a free game that just so happens to be a Bakersfield Condors game on Friday. That said, I'm thinking I'm streaming the Condors game instead of the All-Star skills competition, and then Saturday we'll do the All-Star game. You let me know. What are your thoughts? Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I will catch you in the next one.